before I transitioned, I was self-hating about it because of the activism I was seeing online or just anybody on Reddit. It was very, it felt very, what would you say, fetishy.
Hmm.
And I was like, I
Sure.
don't look at this as like a fetish, right?
Yep.
So like maybe I shouldn't do this because I'm not a weirdo. So
Hey, everybody. I caught myself another one. I'm super excited to bring on a new guest today. First, before we move forward, remember I like, subscribe, the ring, the bell thing, all of the stuff that you guys are doing that are really helping to build my channel and enable me to bring these different types of voices on that, as you know, I really prefer to bring sort of people that are not getting a voice to speak. It's a very monolithic voice out there, I think. And so I really love to have all these different diverse people from not only our community, but sort of worldwide who want to sort of chime in on what's happening today. So this afternoon, I have Nicole, and I don't know much about Nicole. She reached out to me, so I'm going to have Nicole introduce herself, and then we can move on with the interview. So welcome, Nicole. Thank you so much for joining me today. I very much appreciate it. And if you would just, tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll move on from there.
okay. So I'm a trans woman that lives in Texas, and I'm not talking about Austin, Texas. I'm talking about actual Texas, like everything else, right? I currently live in Dallas, but I work full time in the most conservative large city in Texas, which is Fort Worth.
Hmm.
I'm like this everywhere I go. I mean, unless I'm in a uniform, but like
Hmm.
I'm fully out. I've been on HRT for a year. I'm 29 years old.
Okay. And you've been on HRT for 1 year.
Yeah,
Wow, you look great. Excellent. Yeah, you're very passable.
thank you. Well,
Was that
I
is
put in
that
a little
your
bit of
so
work.
so let me ask you, are you similar to myself where I sort of wanna pass like a man and walk the world? Is that your
Yeah,
desire?
the only point.
Yeah. Well, for us it is. I think there's a newer generation. It's not the point. So
That's why
that's
I used to get on here and start talking. I'm like, hey, I kind of agree with all this.
I mean, thank you. And it's not that I'm trying to discount other people's way of being trans, whatever that is. I'm trying to show that there are different types of people like myself, because you clearly just said it, who want to look like men and women and want to transition to the other binary space and walk the world. There's nothing wrong with binary. And so I appreciate you saying that. It means a lot to me because I do not sort of think of myself as the newer way of you don't have to look like a man or a woman to be trans. So tell me a little bit about your background and like where you come from and all of that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm originally from this
Oh, you
DFW
are.
area,
Fro-
West Fort
yeah.
Worth.
Uh-huh.
Um, I served in the army. I just recently got medically retired out 2 years ago, so I'm a
Okay.
civilian again.
Oh, wow.
Um,
How many years were you in the military?
3.5 active.
Wow. Wow. Well, thank you so much, my friend, for doing that. And my family is military and all of that. So I appreciate that. So tell me, why did you transition when you were in the military?
No, I served during the time that it was the Trump ban on
Yeah,
transitioning, so I couldn't have. I did
right.
transition through the Department of Veteran Affairs, though, so, like, my transition's a little different than, like, most
Okay.
normal people around because they can't do it the way I did it.
Tell me a little bit about how you did it.
So, basically, I was in behavioral health, when you're in behavioral health, you get, like, a therapist, psychiatrist, or whatever,
Mhm,
and, I was just in there for like a couple of years, and then
mhm.
I got the diagnosis, and then eventually they got referred to endo, and it was up to the endocrinologist when
I
to
see.
start.
So you did get a diagnosis of gender dysphoria.
Yeah,
Excellent. So you went through like a therapy kind of situation,
yeah.
and what the sort of new trans want to call gatekeeping, but I call safekeeping. What do you think about having to go through a system to transition?
I don't know. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
I don't see it as a problem for me because like it. it was
Mm,
exactly what I needed to do, so
that's right, yeah. I mean, for me too, I feel like it was important for me to have the diagnosis of gender dysphoria so that I could kind of figure out why I was feeling the way I was feeling. So that's why I believe, diagnosis is important and isn't a bad thing that
yeah.
we get a diagnosis, right? So then we get to move forward. So after you get your diagnosis, now did you start hormones immediately?
It took a few months because the VA system is slow. It's the federal
That's right.
government.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
I think it took, like, maybe 90 days from the diagnosis.
Oh, yeah, that's not so bad. So the VA helped you. You went through the VA system and they helped you start to transition.
Yes, they cover my hormone
Wow,
replacement therapy.
fantastic. That's excellent. That makes me very happy to hear because all I ever hear is we don't have anything. Trans people don't. Yes, you do. I transitioned 30 years ago. This would have never happened. And
Yeah,
now insurance pays for your for
I
your
don't pay for none of it.
I mean, I can't even believe people think we don't have anything. We have a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've been online in the system, like, basically online since 2004, right?
Okay.
So, I've seen the differences on how it changed. I remember it was called transsexuality when I was younger,
Well,
and
that's how
gender
I
identity
yeah,
disorder.
yeah,
I still accidentally say gender identity disorder when I'm talking to someone because I'm so used to hearing that. 'Cause
that's right.
I've known from a very young age how I was.
Yeah, that's right. Tell me
So,
about that. Tell me a little bit about growing up and how you felt.
okay, so it's gonna be pretty much, I was very young. I was like 6 years old. I always felt off. I didn't know how to express it. And then, I think when puberty hit is whenever it, like, got real bad, and then there was this I didn't know what trans was yet, right?
Sure.
Until I can't remember what year it was. It was in the mid 2000s. You remember the show Taboo?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, Taboo was on, and it was about a trans woman living in New
Yeah.
York City and how she did her transition. I
Right.
remember I was like, "Oh, we could switch?" Like, it
Yeah.
was like a light bulb in my head. I was like, "I
Yeah.
That makes sense." And then I remember my dad in the background was like, started yelling all this transphobic crap or like all this hate gay stuff. Because my family's a very conservative Christian
Mhm.
Texas family, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
We went to church Wednesdays and
Yep.
Sundays.
Yep.
Um, so I was like, oh, so that's a bad thing. I shouldn't bring that up. So I kept it to myself until around 14 when it got like I had to say something. I told my mother,
Mhm.
and then my mother kind of freaked. She kind of I told her in like a note because I didn't know how to express it to.
Oh.
Okay, so like, and then we talked for like an hour, and she looked at it like, "Oh, so you're just a gay guy, right?" I'm like, "I don't know, right? Like, I haven't had sex
Right.
before yet, so I don't
Mhm.
know."
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so I just kind of shut up about it for a while until I got older. Like, I went through high school. I did like the little emo phase, so I could wear makeup and shit and tight clothes and women's shirts, so I could get away with it, right?
Totally.
And then, it was until, like, I was 20 or 21. It was, like, 2013, 14. I tried to do the Texas this is before, I had the VA and all that help, right? In Texas, at the time, it was required you did RLE, which is real life experience, before you could get on hormones, right? You had to do it for 2 years. I don't know if it's still like that here because I didn't transition to the Texas. I'm doing it for the federal government.
Yep.
But, so I did that, but I didn't have insurance at the time,
Mhm.
and my parents were kinda in a quarrel, and a bunch of bad stuff happened, and they lost the house, and he lost his
Oh.
job, and
Oh.
he acted like he didn't want me with him, so I ended up homeless for it. So I was, like, living off of friends for
But
2
wait, how old were you when that
I was
happened?
21, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So,
Sorry.
yeah, so I tried to do this in 2013, 2014, but it
Okay.
didn't work for me. So
Okay.
I ended up after 2 years, I gave up, I chopped my hair off,
Mhm.
bought some boy clothes at Walmart. At the
Mhm.
time, I didn't have a high school diploma because I was a dropout, a
Mhm.
messed up family life.
Mhm.
So, I heard about this program called Job Corps
Mhm.
through the Department of Veteran Department, what is it called? Labor, yeah, Department of Labor.
Okay, yeah,
I went there. I didn't tell anybody about how I was. I made friends. I mean, there were some LGBT people I was making friends with. Like, it's just
yeah,
they just saw me as a really nice, open person that's talking, right? So I did that. Came and that was in Oklahoma. So I lived there for like a year, and then came back, went to high school diploma, got a job doing security for a while, and then I got so sick at like I became a supervisor at this one site. I was like, I did not like it. I went and joined the army to get. I was like, I was out of Texas. You know what? I went and joined the army. That's so. I didn't join the army to try to be butch or anything. I just joined the army to get the hell out of fucking North Texas for a while, and it worked. I ended up in Colorado for almost 4 years. So
wow. Well, I do think that, a lot of people go in the military to escape maybe bad family or they just don't have focus or, you know what I mean? I personally think that opportunity is great. I think many more people should possibly take that opportunity. How was it when how old were you? Like 21 when you joined the
I was
military?
23 when I got in.
23, 23. And so tell me about that when you joined and then, you're still in the male space when you
Yeah.
joined, right? And, how was that kind of serving in this space where it's very masculine, is it not?
I mean, yeah, I was in a combat unit, but I wasn't a combat soldier. I was just attached to it. Well,
Okay,
technically, I kind of was because I was a truck driver. When you're a truck driver, you have to be able to be a machine gunner because you get the
okay,
turn on the top, right? But
okay.
I would say it was pretty masculine with the infantry and the cavalry
Yeah,
scouts.
yeah,
That because I was in a cavalry scout unit,
okay,
so they were kind of masculine. But like my my platoon or like
mhm.
my guys, it was like multicultural. There was some gay people in my platoon. There was
Openly gay?
yeah.
Openly gay?
I mean,
Wow.
kind of.
What like everyone knew and,
Yeah,
how did they react to those guys?
they acted like they were anybody else.
Excellent to hear. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I was so happy to hear that right now. Wow, that's excellent. But so all this time so you're in here and are you struggling with your dysphoria
Yeah,
while you're
I
there?
became pretty bad alcoholic while I was in.
Mm,
I'm still
yeah.
struggling with it now. That like,
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, I mean, I don't do it every day anymore. That's a good thing, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, to struggle with any, I was also an alcoholic and drug addict. I struggled many, many years with it. So I have compassion for you around it's
I became
difficult.
an alcoholic while I was in. I couldn't transition. I
Yeah.
didn't join a transition anyway, so but
Yeah.
like I when the Trump's like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
you're not gonna do it." So I'm like, okay, I didn't even want to say anything to behavioral health. Every time I like went to behavioral health over an issue, I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want to get like booted out the door, right? Because I wanted to
Yeah.
keep my career.
Yeah. Of course. Of course. That makes complete sense. You know what I mean? Why would you say something that's going to get you, put in an if you don't feel safe to say I feel this way, why
Yeah,
would you say it? 100%. It makes complete sense to me. So you didn't really talk about it then.
no, I never talked about it until I got out. When I was
And
out, like,
was your drinking escalating while you were in there?
yeah, it's very
Yeah.
bad.
Do you think a lot of people's alcoholism escalates in the military?
I mean, it's the U.S.
It's
Army, which is my service,
right. Right.
is a very drinking culture. Like, try to give you a perspective of what it's like to be a single soldier living in the
Yeah.
barracks and stuff.
Yeah.
It feels like you're at a frat house in a college, right? It's college age kid, people.
That's right. That's right.
So it's got a big drinking culture, and upper ranks, celebrate it too, right? So yes, alcoholism is a really big deal in the army.
Wow. My sister was in the army too, so I told and she told me lots of stories, especially being a woman. She was a woman, in the military. I think was back like this was in like the 80s or something, so completely different. And
No idea what it
and she
was.
was a military police, so she got a lot of shit for that too. Um, so I empathize. You're right. I never think about that. These are young kids, young people, 20, 21 years old going into this military space that I can totally picture it being kind of fratty, right? Like
Yeah.
very masculine, very challenging this masculinity. God, that must have been like very difficult for you to be around all of that.
It wasn't great. I mean,
Right, right.
I tell you right now, I wasn't medically retired because something happened to me, and they had to medically retire me. So I still get my check for active
Mhm,
duty all the time, but I don't
mhm.
work there anymore, right? I'm free.
Well, that's a good thing.
Um, if I could have served like this, I feel like my experience with the army would have been a little better because I feel like I'm in a better mind space now.
Yeah, yeah. That makes total
But
sense.
it's too late
100%.
now. I'm out, so like, there's no going back in. I miss it though. I actually really enjoyed it. A lot of people talk
Oh, that's aw
about it.
you know, I know 2 trans women I would like to introduce you to later on. They're both, one is out of the military, but the other one is still in the military, and they're trans women, and, I think you might benefit from having them as maybe a friend group. If you're interested, I'm just
I'm
gonna
interested, sure.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's very I do believe in community. I think community is extremely for people like us who sort of don't necessarily all the time fit in, or if we talk about our stories, people can't relate to what we're talking about unless they're sort of going through it. I mean, they can have empathy for us, but they can't necessarily, that's why it's important. That's why community is so important to me, but I don't see that today
Yeah,
in our community. I see a very big sort of like different ways of being in groups, and if you're not this way, you can't be this way, and that's a shame for me. That's why your story here today is so important, Nicole, because there's gonna be another person who hears what you're saying. They might be in the military right now struggling with trying to transition. So when you leave the military now
mhm.
and you get out, and now what happens? So you transition after you get out of the military, right?
About a year and a half after.
Year and a half. And then so tell me how that happened. So you just went into did you go into the VA and tell
So,
them?
since I was medically retired, I didn't get out like a normal person. Like,
Okay.
I'm on a temporary retirement. I'm 29, I didn't get a retirement check, right?
Wow. Wow.
They put you in the on the way out the door, I was enrolled into the VA system.
Okay.
So, they just switched everything from the army, hospital and everything
Uh-huh.
to the
Uh-huh.
VA system,
Okay.
and I was put in behavioral health because I was having behavioral health issues, right?
Behavioral health. Right. Okay.
While the VA, I didn't have to worry about it, so I was able to bring it up and start talking about it. And after about a
Okay.
year or so, it's whenever I got the diagnosis.
So
Um,
tell me about the person you saw at behavioral health. Did you feel like they helped you sort of discuss your dysphoria, your transness? Did they sort of understand what you were saying?
yeah, I've seen multiple, therapists. The problem with the VA, you kinda go through a lot of them because
Oh.
it's the government. Um, yeah, they keep changing things.
Hi everyone. So I have was reached out by Ewin Gaming Chairs and Gaming and Office Chair to do a review of their chair. So I thought, what a cool idea, because I have to sit all day long working on videos and everything else I'm doing in the world today, fighting the good fight. So I thought it would be really great to actually do a review on this chair. And I'm getting kind of into gaming. Now, that being said, I'm not super great. My son is helping me learn how to play games. So I just love this chair. I actually have had it for a week, and I didn't do the review until I got the chair because I really wanted to do an actual, real, honest review of the chair. And I have some video I'll put in here that I videoed of the chair, so you can see how beautiful it is and how amazing it moves around. And it's look at. I just want you to see it here. Look. It's so cool. It actually has this cool part that I love, that it's a little pillow for your lower back, and then it also has this great headrest thing here that you can, and everything you can adjust, which is I'm kind of a small guy. I'm 5'8", so and I'm about 155 pounds, but it will hold up to a 400-pound person, which is pretty awesome. So it has a wide range there of weight that it can hold. I just love the comfort of it. It's way more comfortable. I was using a very expensive chair prior to this, and, let me tell you, this chair is better than the super I don't even wanna tell you how much the other chair cost me, but for the price of this chair, you will get your money's worth. I mean, especially if you're gaming or sitting in front of the computer doing, videos or whatever else you're doing. It's just for a basic office chair. It's pretty awesome. I can just feel it in my back. It's just changed everything. The other chair I had this thing that you could pump up and do it, but this is there, and it's really making my back feel so much less stressed out sitting here. One of the things I also want to tell you is that they gave me a code for you. If you're interested in getting the chair, if you use the code buck, you'll get 20% off, which is a pretty awesome deal as far as I'm concerned. What are the other things? It really just, I'm telling you, from the chair I was using before to this chair, I just love it so much. So you're going to see it in all my videos now. I'm going to totally use this chair all the time. And I do think you should check them out 100%. I do love this chair, and I think that it was well worth me taking the time to feel it and play games with it, and all of that. So I think, I guess that's really it. I just really love the chair, and I think it's well worth the money. And don't forget, you can use the code buck for 20% off. It's Ewin Racing Chairs, and I'll put that also in the description of this video. And if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me or reach out to them, however you want. So enjoy the chair, and every time you sit in it, think of me. Right on. Have an awesome day, my friends. Wow. But I guess my question is, did you feel like they had empathy for what you were saying, or do you feel
Yeah,
like they
yeah.
okay,
Okay,
excellent.
so there was things with the VA I kinda wanna talk to them about too. So
Okay.
I have a I still have a therapist currently, right?
Mhm.
I like to have a
Of
therapist,
course.
right?
So do I. So do I. Yeah.
Um, okay, so I went through therapists that didn't know about transgenderality, like the transsexuality or like gender dysphoria, and then they switched me over to one that did. And then there was one that they switched me over to that was he didn't actually work at the VA. What do you call it? Like he was a resident,
Okay.
one of the
Okay.
resident doctors.
Yeah.
And he was like an affirming, like gender affirming kind of therapist. I didn't like it because it wasn't like what I was looking for. I already had the diagnosis at that time, though. I got it from the
Right.
other therapist,
Okay.
and I'm no longer with him. I'm currently with a therapist. It's just like I feel like he's just a normal all around therapist. He knows what LGBTQ is because he personally is like he's like a homosexual.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
but like he's not gender affirming, right? It's just a normal therapist.
That's better. I mean, how do you I don't particularly think gender affirming therapists are therapists. I mean, how are you getting therapy if they're just saying yeah to everything you say,
Yeah. I mean,
right? So your therapist now is more sort of just a regular
yeah, and I
therapist.
like that. That's what I wanted.
That's right. That's what I want too. So you can have conversations, and it's not just yes, yes, yes. It's like does your therapist challenge you on some level to what you're saying, or
Yeah, of
maybe have different opinions about it? Yeah,
course.
yeah. Excellent. So here you are in your therapy, and so then you get diagnosed with gender dysphoria, then you start taking hormones. At what age? Like how long ago? You were 1 year ago.
I was 28 when I started.
Wow, okay, great, yeah, I just started around 30. So what's happening now? So where I guess I'm trying to ask, so you start taking hormones, you now feeling are you f I mean, you seem like you are really grounded and very into your, more into who you are and your space. Tell me
Yeah.
a little bit about how you're feeling now, walking the
I
world the way you are.
I mean, I feel like I was able I destroyed my entire middle class heterosexual male life I had before that. I wasn't really heterosexual. I was trying to force myself to be.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah,
I am now, technically, but
yeah.
um, I destroyed all of that, and I've been picking up the pieces and restarting my life. But this time, I feel like I'm not acting or trying to be a certain way. I didn't feel like I feel like I got to take control of everything in my life. Now everything's nothing has a lie now. Everything's just it's real. I'm not holding anything back. I'm not hiding anything from anybody. It's just I got a new friend group. Like I mean, I still have some of my old friends and definitely my old like roommates from the military and stuff. Like they
Mhm.
all stay my friends. Um,
Great.
so, anyways, like yeah, it feels like I got to take control of everything, and now I'm just gonna do what I want to do.
That's
When
right.
right?
That's I mean, isn't that the point of transition?
Yeah. See, I like to look at it like this. I don't feel like it's an identity. It's more like about my sex. Like
That's right. That's right.
I
No,
can't
you
talk about
said it.
that in group with the VA. The VA gets mad at me because they're gonna be more
Hilarious.
no. So
No, you know
I
why they don't wanna hear you? Because you have a different opinion and you're saying things that are very factual.
yeah,
It
so
yeah, right on.
there was this doctor, right?
Yeah.
At the VA. I was like, I'm a transsexual, and they were like, it's not called that anymore. And I'm like, what? Like, I seriously had no idea. Like, I grew
But
up
it
with
is.
third, right?
What? They actually said that to you?
It's not called transsexual, it's transgender. And I was like, what was the reason? And it was like, it's something like I was excluding other people somehow. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I
Wow.
look at it like, right? I look at it as it's not my identity. It's just what's in between my legs and on my chest, right?
It's your disorder.
Yeah.
Transsexualism is it's an actual disorder. We have a disorder. That's what transsexualism is. That you're I'm completely on board with you. This is an identity. I don't live as a trans person. I live as a man. I think you live as a woman, do you not?
Yeah, that's what I that's what I hope
Is
I'm
there
saying.
is a difference then between us and them. So whoever said that is full of shit because we actually want to be men and women. We don't want to be trans. Those new people are identifying as trans. I don't identify as trans.
Mhm.
So
I
wow. Wow, I can't believe they gave you that pushback. That's really
well,
thank you.
it's the feds, and what's in office, and it's just like, the whole political party. It's just like
Yep. Yep.
I wouldn't say
That's
I'm a
right.
Republican either, but like I'm not a
It, it,
Democrat, I'm not a Republican. I'm
yeah,
just
me neither. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I was more conservative before I went in the army, and then when I went in the
Sure.
army, it kind of just pushed me in the middle. Like
Yeah.
you
I'm
look at
too.
government way different when you actually serve them.
Oh gosh, you're so right. That's a whole other level that not many people understand where that is. So it's actually cool that you got to do that and you had that experience and you get to see the difference. The problem for me is when people start telling these people that the word use of the word transsexual isn't, you can't do that. There's many of us who identify as transsexual. And so I really thank you for saying that because I want people out there to hear this. How come our choice of how we call ourselves is not considered part of the community anymore? How is it diverse, right? Isn't our community supposed to be diverse and inclusive? It's not.
I don't
It's
I don't
so
fit into a lot of trans spaces because 'cause I'm a
me neither.
heterosexual trans woman, right?
Me
I
neither.
plan on getting bottom surgery. The VA is supposed to be doing surgeries. They got okayed by the government, but they're still in the freaking political part where they gotta
Of
plan
course.
it, so I'm
Yeah.
on a list of it, right? I'm
Wow.
on a
Great.
list.
Great.
I'm like, I know there was gonna be a waiting list. I was like, "Can I be on the list on the top?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
it's okayed, I can, get my thing done, right?
Yeah.
I don't fit into a lot of trans spaces, even for someone in their 20s, because, like, I don't I'm not a gamer. I don't watch anime. I mean,
A gamer.
video games I have played while I was on active duty,
Yeah,
but
whatever.
it's not like anime stuff or anything, but I don't currently game. I work full time, I don't watch anime. Sometimes if I watch a show, it's more like Working Moms on Netflix, which is very hilarious if you ever seen it.
Totally.
Other than that, I feel like I'm just a basic bitch.
Well, no, I think what you are is very similar to me. I don't hang out in trans space. I don't do that. I assimilated back into the world, and so that
I do have trans
well, so
friends.
do I, but I don't like
I
my whole life isn't trans. I
Yeah,
don't like
right?
just go to trans meetings one after another. I think that's a mistake. I think when you do that, you're just sort of putting yourself into one space, and that's all you're ever hearing or you're ever seeing, and you're not really seeing the rest of the world. I think it's really awesome, my friend, that you have friends from the military who saw you before but are still friends. That's so cool.
You wanna know what's more awesome? Okay, so since I'm in the VI system and it's Dallas, which is a major city, right?
Yep, yep.
They have a group that's through the Department of Veteran Affairs for
Mhm.
trans veterans. So I'm getting to meet other people that were in the military that were trans. So like my best friend, she was in the army 10 years ago. She's a trans woman. she's a little farther ahead of me. She lives in Dallas also.
Mhm.
Yeah, we hang out.
Wow, that's
I
so
mean,
great.
I don't think I could, like, just be friends with someone just because 'cause they're trans though, really. Real or like,
That's right, totally.
veterans I do pretty well with. I have a lot of veteran friends. I do I feel like civilians don't understand me because, like, how you
Yeah,
change in the military and how you're,
yeah.
how your funniness is a little different, like, it might be
Mhm,
offensive to a lot of people.
mhm.
So, yeah, I try to keep with veterans, but I still have civilian friends too, so
Well, no, it makes sense. You definitely have a different way of being. That's like with anybody. If you're around certain things, you kind of sort of gravitate. Like if you're an artist, you tend to have a lot of artist friends, or that seems very normal to me. And I know that because I have a lot of military friends, and they do have a different way of being. And if you don't understand their sense of humor or the way they, I mean, I think you have to get that kind of sense of humor when you're in the military because it's so insane. I mean, you're dealing with I mean, if you think about it, you're sort of dealing with death and you're dealing
yeah,
with
it's a death
destruction.
culture, so, yeah.
Yeah, and you gotta really put your head around that and really I also noticed that there is a lot of trans people in the military. Do you think?
Um, the VA told me when I got my diagnosis that they said the US Army of all branches is the highest likely to have a transgendered person than any other branch. So,
Wow, that's
I
fascinating.
mean, it
That
kinda makes sense because I've met people that think they got gender dysphoria, that they joined because they thought it would make them more manly and stop thinking
manly.
that way.
Yeah, yeah, I
I don't know
think
what
so.
happened in my
So
picture.
so sorta they do it to sort of get that feeling out, whether it be gay or, like they
Yeah,
just will be in a very masculine arena that might knock the transness out of them. You can't. This is a disorder we have. You can never get. It's going to be with you forever. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter about your environment. Environment should be healthy and I mean, you seem like you're doing amazing, Nicole, for 1 year and you look amazing and you like really look great and I think people probably don't misgender you, do they?
I mean, so I wouldn't say 100% pass yet, but it's only been a year.
Yeah, you
It's still
look
a process.
great.
Um, there are times I gender correctly, and I would say about 70% of the time, if I go out like this, I
Mhm,
gender correctly. It's how I
mhm,
talk.
mhm.
I focus on my voice. I'm still voice training, right? Like, I'm still at the beginning stages, right? I'm not that
Mhm.
good. Um,
Yep.
but how I present myself, how I walk, how I talk,
Mhm.
there's a lot involved. You gotta actually try if you wanna get gendered correctly, right?
Thank
I
you.
know
Well,
I
you
oh, I'm kidding. I have never had to I really never had to do that. So, there are times they just stare at me and don't know what to gender me as, which is fine because, like, I'm only 1 year, so
I know you look I mean, I don't know, I can't imagine that you get misgendered. Even your voice sounds great. But that being said, let's talk a little bit about passing, because some people will say to me, "You have passing privilege." I'm like, "Bitch, I've been doing this for 30 years and I work my ass off. This isn't natural." This isn't you know what I mean? I mean, I do think it's a different journey for a trans man than it is for a trans woman. There's different attributes you and
yeah.
I both have to sort of deal with. I do think it's a little bit tougher for a trans woman, there's certain masculine attributes that don't go away with estrogen that you might have to do surgeries or,
Yeah,
whatever.
there is, I mean, like bone, you can't change bone.
Oh, so what do you think about kids transitioning?
Okay, so all I could say about this was
Mhm,
I felt this since I was really young, right?
mhm.
I knew the term at age, like, I think 11, right?
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
I couldn't say if this was a phase or not until
that's right.
I became an adult, like, because, like, who knows if this was just, like, a little weird phase or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Like, I could never know for sure until I was an adult that this wasn't go away. I'm
that's
almost
right.
I'm almost 30 now, so I'm like,
Yeah.
I felt like this since pre-puberty, through puberty, all the way up to here, then yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
But I could never say that, I was sure when I was younger.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say it's so I transitioned about what age you are now, and I'm 60. So I also had to grow up, you know, female, but I was a very masculine female. But I couldn't tell you back in the day if I knew exactly this would have been the right choice for me because I had a whole life before I transitioned. I lived as a gay woman. I did a lot of things. I was a female athlete, and so looking back now, I think, well, what if my parents transitioned me? I would have never experienced all of those things that I like to experience. I mean, that I feel were important to me today. So I don't necessarily think a 10-year-old understands the sort of irreversible space of transition. Tell me about your family. Did you reconnect with them at all or not at all?
So I kinda talked to my mom, now, but my dad hasn't talked to me in months. Um,
But your dad knows you transitioned.
yeah, he's a very conservative Trumper too.
I would like so what did he say? Did he just, like,
He's not
freak?
I mean, I've been out of the house for 10 years now at this point,
Right,
right? So it's
right. It doesn't matter what he thinks, I'm just
I
you
built my
know,
life on my own. I don't rely on anybody, right? So
I hear you, friend. That's survival, you're a survival, you're not that's also what I like about you, you're not a victim. You could easily be a victim, but you're not. You took control of your situation and really
yeah, I
made
went
it
from
happen.
homeless to middle class, so
That's right. That
yeah.
says a lot. Me too, I was homeless and I got my shit together. I was alcoholic, all of that stuff,
I still
and
still kinda
mhm.
messed up sometimes, but, like, started doing AA groups, so
Good for you. Good for you. AA saved my life, honestly. I wouldn't be here without AA. It really did help me. But 30 years of not drinking, but it took a lot to get there. You have to just be honest with yourself. And also transitioning on top of it, it's hard. It's not easy. People don't understand. It's not an easy road to just decide to do this to your body and all. So
there's
are
a
you
lot
doing
of anxiety involved in it, right?
Oh my god, it's really
Yeah,
difficult, and it does. That's why I think that you're going to mental health care is so great and so important, and, really being out there and wanting to give back to the community is also great because people see you and it really helps them, and, they can understand they can do it too. The opportunity is there for all of us. It's just a matter of how you take it upon yourself, and you're not a victim, which is something very important to me to show the world. We don't have me and you aren't victims. We took care of our
yeah.
shit. Yeah. We don't, and I think that you're independent that way and you wanna create your own space and help others. So your mom knows and she's cool with it?
I mean, there's nothing she can do about it.
Oh, that's true. How about do you have sisters or brothers or any
Yes,
of
I
that?
am one of 7.
How old?
Okay, so, I think my older brother is 35,
Oh,
36.
okay. Yeah, okay, in the
I think my
30s, yeah.
older sister is probably 38 or 39 by
And
now.
how are they? Do you
Uh,
talk to them?
I only talked to my older brother because he's my half brother. He's not related to my dad.
Okay, okay.
And he's in school. He's like on his 5th or 6th school year of medical school because he's becoming a
Oh,
doctor.
great,
So he's like,
great,
he's fine with it. Um,
great.
I have not talked to one of my younger brothers. He's basically ghosted me. I got blocked by him too, which is
Um,
it's fine. I don't. I could see this being more rough if we were like all just
yeah,
living. But this has been
yeah.
10 years. Like
Okay, yeah.
it's
That's
been
right.
10 years since I've been out of the house.
Right, I get it totally, but, at the same time and also it doesn't really matter that you're blood, you know what I mean? Family can be chosen and all of that as well, and I just always wonder how like, I got lucky, my family really just accepted my transition, but I know a lot of people don't do that. Well, I don't wanna say a lot, I think it's changed a lot today, I think more people are a little more accepting of it because more people are doing it.
I mean, I kind of believe that because like how I'm treated in public.
Yeah.
Like I don't sit at home on the internet all day. Like I'm usually out. I'm gonna ask you. I don't like
Me either.
I don't like even being in my house more than maybe like a couple hours. Like, I wanna be able to be doing something, so, like,
That's right. You didn't transition to stay on the internet, on TikTok. I'm trans, like, who cares?
I,
I know, well, that's what's important about my interviews, and I really want you to see you don't have to stay at home on TikTok to be trans. You can actually go get a job or even get a career in the medical field and do all kinds of, it's not I'm gonna tell you, I don't feel transphobia that some people just keep insisting that the world is transphobic. I will disagree. People are transphobic more than ever today because I think that there are people in our community that are causing problems. I really do. And I think that they're not being realistic and they're exposing this side of the trans space that's so insane and neurotic and crazy that I don't want to be anything. That's not how I live my life. And I don't
right,
expect everybody in the world to like me. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about this new trans activism.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah. I want to know. Yeah. What do you think? Just
okay, so before I transitioned, I was self-hating about it because of the activism I was seeing online or just anybody on Reddit, It was very, it felt very, what would you say, fetishy.
mhm.
And I was like,
Sure.
I don't look at this as like a fetish, right?
Yep.
So like maybe I shouldn't do this because I'm not a weirdo. So, um, now when I discovered the term transmedicalism, which is like what I was used to seeing, I was told it was a bad thing, right? In the trans,
Yeah.
like I go check out what the belief is, right? And it's
Mhm, mhm,
just the normal belief. You go
mm,
therapy, gender dysphoria if you have it, hormones if you want it, right?
mhm.
Um, so I was like, okay, these people, well, people like this and then this belief, I really agree with this. All right.
Yeah.
So, I noticed, I don't know what the fuck non-binary is. I really don't. I don't understand.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna probably piss off a lot of people because
No, you're not. No, you're
I
not.
know personally a lot of LGBT people. Like, I'll listen to their belief systems. And I won't judge them in public, but I'll be
Mhm.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
non-binary is isn't
It's
it
not
like
trans.
it's like the
Well,
new goth emo thing, right?
that's right. That's all it's a choice, right? Like, I want people to hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
We didn't choose to b Nicole and I are not choosing to be this way. It's actually a diagnosis that is actually in our bodies, and we have to do this to survive. I think non-binary people make that choice, however they feel or whatever, but they're also people don't understand, how is that trans? That you how are non-binary people in the same category you and I are in? How is
wait,
that
how
possible?
can you be, how are you not any gender? What the fuck is that? Seriously,
It's
like,
a choice. It's a choice. They're
see, I
choosing
feel
that.
like I've noticed it's a lot of, what can I say? I'm allowed to say this. I'm biracial. I'm Mexican and Caucasian. All right. So I noticed there's a lot of white middle class in the
I
straight
mean,
white.
it's kinda true. I mean, it's kinda true. The kids that come after me are all these white upper middle class sort of kids. I never see kids of color really try to rip me apart. Yeah, no, I mean, that's something I do look at too and see why does it seem to be predominantly this very white sort of and
I feel
also
like
yeah.
the wokeness and all that kind of made it where people felt like they had to have like a certain label or
Mhm.
something to be part
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
And I've noticed like white women are like being they're starting to feel like they're being left out. So they're trying to
Mhm.
build their own identity to fit into a space, right? I didn't do this because I wanted to be in a space. I don't really care. Like I don't have any LGBT anything, flags, nothing. I mean, I drive a solid black truck. I don't like um now
So
I
it feels like an agenda on some level. It
yeah,
feels
this
like, people are like, I'm trans." Like, who cares?
I'm trying to be part of something that I mean, I guess it's fine if they wanna be part of something, but what they're doing is actually hurting me in a way
Well, that's right. That's
because
why I wanna
more
tell
crazy
people.
they make it look. The outside people, the Republican Party and all that, just wants to crack back down on you. Like, they're like, no, and they're gonna try to start banning right now, in Texas right now, they're trying to ban gender affirming care through, Social Security and all that other shit, right? Because of how so like, when Caitlyn Jenner came out and all that, it was kind of a backlash, right? But it wasn't as
Mhm.
bad
Mm-mm.
because they weren't really talking about children, they weren't talking about just chopping your breasts off and, like, getting rid of your nipples and stuff, right? Um, I
Wow.
don't know, it's just like
Well,
it's
I'm in agreement with you, and I say it all the time, and I told these people, "You better calm down. The rest of the world's gonna look at us like we're mutilating children,
oh,
that
it's
we're."
too late. We're already like
Oh, no,
that.
it's too
Like,
late. That's why all these laws are passing, and, all of them are
yeah,
passing these anti-trans laws, and, this part of the community that's the activist community won't take any responsibility for what they did, and they need to take some responsibility for this. I'm not saying it's all their fault, but they started doing stuff that made conservative people go, "What is happening?"
yeah,
And I keep telling people I didn't have transphobia before all this happened, and I'm a really old school trans person. In my life, I didn't get the transphobic stuff that's coming out today. And I guess what I'm trying to say here is there are people like Nicole and I who are reliant upon this medication, upon these surgeries, upon being able to look and present as male and female in the world. And we very much need this. We don't want anybody to push on, we don't want to push on anybody. I think we want to just sort of get our shit together and move on. But this new trans activism, when they call you and I a trans medicalist, how is that okay? It's not.
yeah, it's
No. It's a slur.
they're just trying to say we're excluding everybody else, and it's
No,
like,
we're not. We've never said that. We never
okay, and
go.
non-binary wants to be a thing, can they just have their own letter?
That's right.
Like,
Go on, my friend. That's right. So,
the
the fact that
LGBT
they're
thing.
calling us yeah, the fact that they're calling us names says everything about them.
Yeah,
We I'm not making up names for them, and I don't really give a shit what they wanna do, but they are not trans people. They are non-binary people, and they're not like you and I, and they can't speak for you and I. And that's why I started building this channel.
yeah.
Because I feel like your voice is very important, Nicole, and people need to see other ways of being from trans women, especially because I don't know if you notice this as well. Trans women seem to dominate the conversation. Do you see that? Or
I feel like before they did. I
mm,
feel like I'm seeing a higher number of trans men
okay,
in the spaces, and
great.
that's recently, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's I mean, good. Even though I stand sort of apart from a lot of the community. I don't necessarily agree with a lot that's going on there. And I don't know if it has to do with me just because I think transsexual people need to stand apart from this because we are okay with our diagnosis and we just wanna get on with our lives, where I don't feel
Right,
the
I'm
other
just here for
part.
my life, if I have to build a channel to help people understand, fine.
That's right, that's right. That
I was
means a lot about you.
I've been talking to you since December, if you probably get
Yeah.
tons of mail, so you probably won't remember, but,
No, I
like,
remember.
I've been
Yeah,
talking to you since December, and I was, like, contemplating if I wanna even go on an online thing, and 'cause, that's outing myself basically, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, but I was like, "You know what? Fuck it," 'cause I've been watching so much, and I'm seeing all the laws, I'm like, I wanna start talking about some stuff here.
Yeah. No, I mean, the fact that we're sort of pushed into doing this because if we don't stand up and do this, our voices will never be heard. And there'll only be one side of the story
Yeah,
when there's a lot of different types of trans people and ways of being. And this anti-trans stuff has gotten so crazy. Now they're just like, eradicate trans people. I'm like, oh, how did we get here? It's not cool.
yeah,
It's not. I do highly suggest you start a channel and get your voice out there. Help young people, help young trans women. who might not feel at all the same way me and you feel. We don't feel attached to this community, and
Yeah.
they actually need people like you to sort of mentor them.
I'll let you know when I upload a video. I already have the channel. I feel like I
Thank
wanna
you,
create
friend.
content because my lighting's crap right now, and it's
That's all right.
I kinda wanna get a desktop.
It's your message that counts, not
Yeah.
necessarily
That
anything
tells
else.
you how
So
much I'm on there. I don't even have a computer.
that's okay. You'll figure it out. Don't
Yeah, I'll
worry.
figure out.
You've been through worse, friend. so we're gonna end here real soon. Here, I just want to ask you this: if do you have anything maybe you want to say to maybe a younger generation of people who how felt like you when you were 20 something and kind of getting into the military, but you always felt this like a woman? Do you have
Yeah.
anything you want to say about maybe going through a system and however whatever you want to say?
All I'm gonna say is if you're in the military right now and you don't know what to do, I didn't do this on active duty, but I was in long enough to understand how it works. Your first step is to go to behavioral health. If you don't go to behavioral health, it's not going to start the system. Like, they're not going to kick you out if you go to behavioral health over it right now, currently in this administration. So go to behavioral health, tell a therapist that, and start therapy. I'll get the
Excellent.
ball running for you.
Thank you for saying that because I bet a lot of these people don't know that the first
Uh,
thing you need to do is go to behavioral health,
Definitely
and then
when you're in
from
like the military or an army and a young soldier,
yeah,
they're not going to tell
yeah,
you everything, right?
they're not. They're not. So, see, that is gold. What you just said is gold. Like, not a lot of people would be able to share that. And, so by you sharing that, you just help people kind of,
Yeah.
make a sort of beeline to instead of going over here, being bounced over here, being told over here. I mean, that can be insanely. How did you find out to go to behavioral health?
I was already in behavioral health. I don't have any issues. I was like,
Right on. No, but that's so see that how awesome that is that you just gave us information that someone's not gonna have to struggle trying to figure out how to get there,
yeah.
and that the military does help you. I mean, they did they not?
Well, I want to say one more thing too.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
yeah,
pertaining to the military. So, if you're truly gender dysphoric and you got the diagnosis, but you're scared of how you're going to be treated once you start,
yeah,
this is a long process and it's gradual. Like, I didn't just immediately look like this, and I don't even think I look that great now, right?
you do.
I mean, I look way different than I did when I was a male and soldier and all buff, but
Yeah,
it's a slow system, so it slowly happens, and people don't really give a shit enough to attack you in public. All right, take it from somebody that goes everywhere in Fort Worth, Texas. It's like cowboy town, right? As a trans person, transsexual, that's out.
right.
I have never been harassed. I've never been assaulted. So don't be scared. Just take it one step at a time.
Yeah, beautiful. That's beautiful advice. And you're right. You can't walk into things with fear. People will say things to you, whether you're not trans or not. People will find something to say about you because that's just how humans are. But I think that's great advice. Just do it, just walk out there. Somebody might say something nasty to you, but it's not the end of the world. People just have to learn that we're here and being present in the world shows them that we're not going anywhere. We're still going to show up whether you like it or not. So you might as well like it. I mean, get to know us, people. Don't make assumptions that all trans people are wing nuts because we're not.
I feel like I'm a pretty boringly normal person.
Totally. I'm so
Full
boring. I'm
time
like,
job. I'm more at work than home, and then when I'm off, I'm like at a friend's house or like somewhere.
right
Right?
on. Right on. No, I'm so boring. I'm, married with a kid, and I get off of this, I go and do my gym, and then make dinner for the kid, and you know what I mean. I'm just like normal.
I have to clean a house. I'm just like,
Right on. Excellent. Um, well, Nicole, thank you so much. Hopefully, well, not hopefully. I know people will leave lots of beautiful comments to you, and I will put whatever information you want below if you want people to be able to contact you or your YouTube channel. your Instagram, whatever else, because I'm pretty sure people will want to contact you. Maybe people who are already in the military wanting to transition, they might they might want that. You have a good, a lot of information you can share to help a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can tell you my YouTube handle. I haven't had it updated.
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
updated a video yet,
Yeah.
so it'll be at Nicole Gonzalez 2022.
Great. Okay, and I'll add that to the bio down below when I put it all in there. And other than that, Nicole, thank you for your time. It was very nice of you to reach out and really give your time here today. It says a lot about you that you care about
Yeah.
what's going on. And leave Nicole nice comments, people. And just leave comments if you want to have a conversation with her, or like
I
just
mean, I'm not afraid of hate mail. I'm from the military. I'm not gonna hate my
Yeah, but we don't I don't like that. What I like is if you don't agree with Nicole, that's fine. You can say, well, blah blah blah. But just people calm down on the hate, man. It doesn't do any of us any good. None of us. It's if you do hate here, I just block it and get rid of it. So it's not even, it's not worth it to send hate. It's just
Yeah.
let's try to create conversation, people. You don't have to agree with Nicole and I, but I think what you need to do is listen to us. And doesn't mean that we need your approval as well. We don't need your approval, but we want to create bridges. I mean, that's what I want to do. I think that's what you want. I want to create bridges with the world. So, the
I
world
just want the
accept
world
us.
to see that crazy we're not all crazy freaks, right? None
Yep,
of that is just
that's right.
like
We're
man,
not.
woman,
We're
like
not. Yeah,
there's
you're
not a
pretty
better model.
normal. Yeah. That's right. That's all we want is people to see. Is
Yeah,
just see other people. We're not all the same and we have different opinions. And
yeah.
right on. Thanks, Nicole. Thanks everybody for watching. And remember, like, subscribe, do all that. Send Nicole some love. And I'll see you all next week. Okay. So